Welcome, Mark. Thank you for joining the My Charter Story podcast. This is a new format of My Charter Story that focuses on opportunities presented to CFA charter holders, specifically as a result of their engagement with the CFA community. Before we get into that, I wanted to touch on how you became interested in a career in finance. Your original career interests were quite different from where you've landed, but both contain an element of data analysis and problem solving. Can you talk about your initial interest in medicine and how that translated to what you're doing now?
Sure. First of all, hello, and thank you for having me. And speaking of my initial career choice, back in school, I always wanted to work in something that would be useful to everyone and something that required precision. And for me, the obvious choice at that moment was becoming a surgeon. So this idea was in my head. I always want to be a doctor, to maintain human health, to improve, to help them. If somebody comes to me for help, I will be able to answer and be useful. So for me, it was that idea until I started discovering chemistry and blood, and I just understood that it was not something for me. And back in school, I already had to make some choices. So chemistry was the first thing I dropped, and that sort of finished my career of a surgeon. But then I discovered the magic of statistics, math, probability theory, which later would turn into econometrics in university. And that sparked my passion for the industry, for data science, finance. And I realized that if I would work in wealth management or asset management, at that point of time, I didn't really know the difference. I just knew numbers, finance, people need help. And I thought, okay, I can still be a doctor, but a different one that will take care of the human financial health, if you may. And that's how I stayed in this path towards numbers, statistics. And then I obviously chose the bachelor related to economics, master's in finance, where I focus more on the quantitative courses. And here we are.
Wow, what an interesting story there. You've participated in the 2018 CFA Institute Research Challenge as part of the team from HEC Lausanne, organized locally by CFA Society Switzerland. For our listeners, the CFA Institute Research Challenge is the largest equity research competition in the world. This annual program provides university students with hands-on mentoring and intensive training in financial analysis and includes local, regional, and global competitions. How did you first hear about the research challenge and decide to become involved?
Actually, that was pretty early in my university career when I started. When I was just started the second year of bachelor, students were already started to be given a choice which courses to continue, which courses to drop, and I started thinking, how can I align my courses with my future, and especially with my future choice of the masters. So I opened all the masters. One of them was finance. I downloaded the program description, checked the courses, and all of them were pretty obvious. Econometrics, alternative investment, but then there was the CFA Research Challenge. I was immediately hooked because I already heard about the CFA Institute before. And so I made my small research, Googled it, and I quite immediately understood that the challenge could be a major differentiator between, let's say, two identical students looking for an internship, but one has participated. And I thought, okay, this is something interesting, but my reflection stopped there, just making a mental note. But 2 years later, when I was already in the master's first year, I was already a CFA Level II candidate at that point. I just was really inspired by this idea of participating and putting my skills to, let's say, ultimate check by the judges, by the world, by professors. So I started setting my eyes on winning at least this Swiss final. And then that year, because in Switzerland, in my university, we participate in the challenge in our final year of masters. Since I was still in the first, I had a whole year to think about it. So I concentrated on courses that were teaching financial analysis or the art of it, watching some CFA Research Challenge videos on YouTube. So those 12 months I spent this way preparing. And then when I finally got the opportunity, I just dove headfirst into the challenge.
Wow. What was that experience like preparing for each round, and how did those experiences help prepare you for your career in investment management?
I think it started naturally. It's a course at university. In our university, it also gives healthy amount of credits, and you obviously want to have a good grade together with the credits. So it started as a course, and I'm a part of a team. So every one of us had different goals, but we were all inspired by participating, but by finally doing something similar to real life at university. So each round was different. First started for the university just as a class. Then we were advancing to the Swiss final. That became, the stakes got higher, but we were still sort of in our comfort zone of the country, of the people we knew. Some industry professionals came to our university to present, so we were still in that, let's say, bubble, but the number of teams was getting smaller and smaller, and the quality of competition was getting higher. And then European final was something, inspiring, because our university and the country already got to the EMEA final, but we just knew we have to do something amazing there, and we felt a certain pressure, but we just always stick to the same set of rules: know your audience, have fun, try to always improve. And global final was something else. And in terms of how that prepared us for our career, I think the challenge trains the analytical mind. As students, we are taught numerous techniques, models, equations, but you never know when or how to use what's the most appropriate method. So this challenge really puts that to the test. And especially if some students doing it parallel, level 1 or level 2 of the CFA, they start to understand, thanks to those blue boxes, the examples that is provided by the curriculum, what's the best practice, what would the analyst have done in that case or in that case. As a team, we learned a lot how to work in a team, first of all, that you have to challenge each other respectfully, but if there's no challenge, means maybe something is wrong. If you're challenging, if you're asking, that's a healthy relationship, and that leads to improvement. And I think this stays with all of us in our careers. Critical thinking, being efficient, sometimes throw there a pinch of creativity, trying to be perfectionists, but without overkilling yourself. That's important. And then the challenge also is a bit about marketing, or ability to sell. And this is not something that everyone gets in university. So the challenge also helps with the design skills, presentation skills, telling stories, not even financial, but life stories. That would be something the challenge taught us.
Well, your team ended up advancing to the global finals. Tell us what happened there.
That was surreal, but before it became surreal, there was a moment of doubt, for sure. We were thinking, can we actually do it? Now that we have won the European final, the stakes are so high, the competition is just so good. It's top of the top. Everybody's prepared. Presentations are the highest level, all pixel perfect. And we thought, should we? What do we do? And our professor just calmly said to us, well, it will not be a home run, but I think you can do it. And I think the way he said it is just something clicked, and we started working really hard. We had 2 weeks between European and the global final. We were already a bit exhausted, but again, we stick to our rules, improve at every step of the challenge. So we started working more. We integrated the new numbers from the past annual reports. We updated the entire presentation, all the numbers, we revised the speech. And you just know that you're going to compete against the best. And to not have the stress overcome you, we had to do some internal, spiritual, personal work on ourselves, on setting our mind to just have fun, to never forget that first thing of the challenge is to have fun if you're prepared. to not take yourself too seriously, especially at the global level, because you already done this whole research, and there is just to get on the stage and have a good time on the stage. And I think this is what judges, especially at the final level, are taking into consideration as well. And a good example of that in our mindset, I think there is a photo of us standing right before we're gonna come up on the stage, and all of us are smiling, and it's very peaceful. And that was the feeling. Go there, enjoy every second, and code erit erit, which means what will be, will be. And it happened. Still remember some of those moments with a smile on my face.
You're being very modest, but what was the outcome of the global finals?
We won the global final. I'm not sure out of how many students or universities, but we were crowned the champions of financial analysis. We got some extreme coverage in Switzerland, in some local newspapers.
Wow.
LinkedIn exploded, Facebook exploded. It was great time after the challenge, and it just felt really nice to breathe out, to slowly understand what have you accomplished in those past 5-6 months of your life.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I'm sure that was a major turning point in your journey to your career. You've talked a little bit about how you heard about the CFA Charter. How has that decision to pursue the program impacted your career?
The story is actually quite magical. It's simple, but it's magical. We were traveling with my parents when I was 15 years old, so back in 2010, and we met some of my parents' friends, and this person was working on his level 1, and he's there. He's supposed to have a good time, but he's sitting there with all these books, and I was just interested. What are you reading? And he explained me what the program is about. He showed me some pages, some material. He explained me how hard it was. And at that point, I was really hooked by the challenge of it, without really understanding what the program brings to you. But I thought it's useful, and I would definitely take a look at it later when I will be in university. That's what happened. I went to the university and I got an internship in a Hong Kong firm. But since I wasn't speaking the local language, they told me that it would be beneficial if you would have at least passed the CFA Level 1. And it was back September. And at that point, there were only 2 exams a year. And if I passed in June, it would be too late. So I had to prepare for December exam in 2 months. And I didn't have even time to think of the program. I just knew now they're asking it. But I already know that it's useful because back from 2010, I remember that it is very interesting and useful. And I just dove right into it, learned the level 1, immediately signed up for level 2. And the best part of it, I was doing it in parallel with my bachelor and master studies. And what university teaches you, you don't know when or how to apply. But in parallel with the CFA, the program is all these examples tell you, okay, this model would be useful. But if you want to know more about this really complicated quantitative model, that's where my university study comes in. So for me, it was really complementary, and it sort of helped me group everything I learned in the university in something coherent that I can use on day-to-day basis. And then after level 2, there was this challenge, and after the challenge, I continued.
Wow. So university, preparing to see it.
Yeah, sorry, I need to finish the magical story because my level 3 exam results, I got exactly in the same spot and place where I learned about the program in 2010. I got the email in exactly the same country, same hotel, and I think that's what's magical because my mother asked me, do you remember actually that we were here? And I'm like, right. And that sort of finished my journey. It started and finished in the same spot.
Wow.
And the story is quite magical because it started for me and ended actually in the same spot. In 2010, I learned about the program in a specific country and hotel. And then when I got my results, we of course celebrated, and I was traveling again with my parents. And then my mother tells me, hey, Mark, do you remember that actually back in 2010, we were here in this spot And I'm like, yeah, right. And I think this really makes the story really magical. It started for me, ended in the same spot, full of great memories. And now I'm just finally a charter holder.
Wow, that really is a magical story. How have you continued to stay engaged with the Society and CFA Institute?
I really like the CFA Research Challenge ecosystem, so I'm mostly involved in that area. First of all, in our university, the previous year's winners, no matter the level, they get to share their feedback with the next year of students. And that's something I especially enjoyed right after the global final. And I thought, okay, this is sort of an unofficial way to give back to the challenge, to improve the challenge. But then I learned that there's this mentorship program that you can become an official mentor, a grader, even a judge. So I remained very active there. I've been a mentor since the year of my global final. And in some years, I was also given an opportunity to be a grader for EMEA final. And last year, I was a global final judge, which gave me a really different perspective on the challenge. I knew what kind of questions to ask, where to look. So it was really nice to actually try all different aspects, all different levels, angles of the challenge.
Wow. Are you currently pursuing other professional learning opportunities with CFA Institute or CFA Society Switzerland? And if so, how do they align with the skills you need for your current and future career goals?
In terms of learning, I just know that the program has been valuable. The charter, all 3 levels. And I thought, okay, what else is there to learn from the CFA Institute? So I mainly now focus on 2 things. First are the refresher readings. I really love that they're always up to date, give, let's say, the fresh information that I can again go back to my workplace and use. And I'm also involved with I'm pursuing a certificate in ESG Investing this year. So I still have some time to pass the exam. And the skills, I'm working as a portfolio manager and a financial analyst in an asset management firm. So everything I learned in university and during my CFA charter journey, I'm applying more as a portfolio manager and analyst. But now we are seeing this stronger and stronger move to ESG, to responsible investing. And I think it's just a no-brainer to get yourself familiar with the industry, with the metrics, with the ESG goals, with the CFA Institute. So that's what I'm up to.
So you just keep learning and keep your skills up to date and current. So that's so great to hear your inspiring story. Thank you for spending time with us today to share that, and good luck with your studies and your involvement with the CFA Institute Research Challenge and CFA Society Switzerland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and thanks for having me.